Today on Investigate TV Plus, a symptom of the system. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Insurance companies denying potentially life-saving medical treatment, and families say they can't fight back.
What they're doing is disgusting, and it's getting worse and worse, it seems.
We take an in-depth look at the complicated system of prior authorization, why doctors tell us they need permission to treat their patients.
Plus, the caregiver crisis.
It's exhausting, like physically and emotionally.
Millions of Americans providing unpaid care for loved ones with dementia. What we uncovered about patient care and where you can find support.
The odds are not good for a pit bull in a shelter.
And how a bond between a boy and a shelter dog changed their lives for the better.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Patients caught in the middle of a fight between doctors and insurance companies.
Physicians say insurance companies are effectively practicing medicine by deciding what gets covered and when, but aren't being held to the same standards. And patients have few options to fight back if delays affect their health, even if they go to court.
It's frustrating now. At the time, the anger was, I can't even explain it, even on her part.
Val Valentini says his health insurer failed his family. A few years ago, the former New York City police officer's wife, Kathleen, was suffering from hip pain, and doctors wanted an MRI to investigate a suspicious mass that turned up in an X-ray, but insurance denied the request. So her doctor told her, I want you to get an MRI because I feel like this is what you need. And then the insurer, who never saw her, said, no, you're not getting an MRI.
That's exactly it.
It took 6 weeks of appeals, but she finally got the MRI, which confirmed bone cancer. But doctors said the delay in diagnosis meant instead of chemotherapy, Kathleen needed a significant amputation first.
She suffered for no reason.
In November of 2020, she lost her battle.
They failed her so miserably, and from beginning to end.
Kathleen's MRI needed approval to be covered in a process called prior authorization, which is when doctors submit a request to the insurance plan and it decides if it will provide coverage, often based on whether the company thinks the test or treatment is necessary. Justin Williams worked for a major health insurance company for almost a decade. His team processing electronic faxes of requests from doctors as they came in.
So every one of those faxes coming in would be someone's hospitalization, somebody's medical equipment, somebody's treatment.
Williams says over time, bosses pushed his team to focus on new and different duties. The queue of unprocessed fax requests backed up into the thousands, often pushing each prior authorization to the maximum amount of time.
It basically became clear to me that the primary function of the insurance company was not so much getting things done in a timely fashion.
Part of what makes the process so hard to navigate for providers and patients, not all insurers have the same rules. In our analysis of nearly 100 policies, prior authorization requirements for the same service varied company to company and sometimes state to state. We tried to interview representatives from the insurance industry for this story. A political advocacy association representing health insurers refused to make someone available. But in 2018 testimony to Congress, the group says prior authorization has been effective in addressing overuse and misuse of tests and procedures.
With prior authorization, our members analyze whether a treatment is safe and effective for a particular patient based on the best available clinical evidence.
By making these decisions, people like Val Valentini and his attorney allege insurance companies are actually practicing medicine. The family even tried to sue their insurer for medical malpractice. But the case got dismissed because in New York, as in most states, there are no laws holding insurance companies to the same standard as doctors.
What they're doing is disgusting, and it's getting worse and worse, it seems.
According to a 2022 AMA survey, the experience described by Valentini is a shared one. 94% of physicians reported prior authorization at least sometimes delays their patients' care. 89% said the prior authorization process had a negative effect on patient health outcomes. 9% of respondents said they've had a patient become permanently disabled or die because of the process. You can find court documents from the Valentini's legal case and more details on our team's research online now at InvestigateTV.com.
Now to an in-depth look at Alzheimer's disease and its impact on patients and caregivers. The World Health Organization says every year nearly 10 million new cases of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, are diagnosed by doctors around the world. That's one new case every 3.2 seconds.
According to the Cleveland Clinic, dementia is an umbrella term describing mental decline that's severe enough to interfere with daily living. And the Alzheimer's Association says the role of caring for someone with dementia often falls on a family member.
And now we can only imagine the emotional and even physical challenges of caring for a loved one with dementia. In fact, a June 2020 report by AARP reveals only 10% of caregivers describe their own health as excellent and say these challenges can often lead to feelings of burnout. We took an in-depth look at the caregiver crisis and the need for more resources and support.
Noelle Esquire says she saw the changes in her dad.
He was in his 80s, and so you kind of just associate that with like normal aging when people have, some memory challenges.
Noelle moved back to her parents' home in North Carolina to help when he started showing signs of dementia, signs that included confusion doing everyday tasks and trouble following conversation and finding the right words.
It's exhausting physically and emotionally.
Noelle is like the 11 million other Americans the Alzheimer's Association says provides unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. About 35% of those caregivers are age 65 or older, and approximately 2/3 are women like Noelle.
That added stress ended up not being sustainable long term.
A January 2022 report by the National Institutes of Health echoes Noelle's feelings, finding depression occurs in at least 1 in 3 caregivers. We did some further digging and found a CDC report published in 2019 says family members who care for loved ones with dementia are at greater risk for anxiety, depression, and poor quality of life than caregivers of people with other medical conditions. And the Alzheimer's advocate we spoke to says another issue caregivers face is finding medical care for their loved ones.
In a good world, a 6-month wait list for a neurologist or neuropsychologist, but that can typically be 9 to 12 months.
Sarah Lovegreen is the vice president of programs with the Alzheimer's Association. She says staffing shortages in specialist care across the country has been so bad, it's led to delays in care for some patients. A report released in 2017 by the Alzheimer's Association identified 20 states as potential dementia neurology deserts, meaning they're projected to have less than 10 neurologists per 10,000 people with dementia by 2025. The advocates we spoke to say they're now working to arm primary care physicians with the tools they need to manage an increased caseload of patients, as well as guidance for caregivers.
But there were times when I didn't think I would make it. And this group pulled me through.
The Alzheimer's Association says support groups can also provide caregivers with education to help those who may be feeling helpless.
This is family.
Mary Margaret Fosmark works with an Alzheimer's support group in the Richmond, Virginia area. It's the same group she turned to while caring for her husband as he battled dementia. After his death, she began helping other caregivers.
You know you're not alone.
As for Noelle, her father passed away in April of 2023. She's grateful for the support she found from a group near her parents' home in North Carolina.
Really just left us feeling more empowered to take this on, and then also give me, and I think also my mom, a sense of community to know that we're not going through this alone.
Of course, we all want what's best for our loved ones, but we have to remember to take care of ourselves.
I never think about that because you always feel so terrible for people going through things like that. But, thinking about even my family, the people taking care of the sick people, it's a lot mentally and physically on people, for sure.
We all need support.
We all need it, yes.
And if you or a loved one need additional support, the Alzheimer's Association offers peer-to-peer professionally led groups. You can find one by going to the Alzheimer's Association's website at act.alz.org.
Coming up as we continue our in-depth look at dementia and Alzheimer's.
How long can you be sad and not get sick of it?
The comedian inspiring others on their caretaking journey, how she's turning her reality into humor and healing.
But first, a new drug trial in the fight against Alzheimer's disease.
I got to do something, and this is something I can do.
Why the results could help doctors get ahead of the disease's most devastating symptoms. That's after the break.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. In Nevada, the Cleveland Clinic for Brain Health is conducting a clinical trial that's taking a deeper look into lecanemab, a drug the neurologist we spoke to says could prevent or delay the symptoms of Alzheimer's.
Reporter Heather Graff shows us the research now underway and how it could one day maybe help you or someone you know.
My mom came up with some symptoms for some memory issues.
Robert Lathrop knows what it's like to care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease.
My dad passed away, and we had to take care to a memory care unit. And this became kind of a personal thing for me.
After experiencing his own forgetfulness, Lathrop volunteered to take part in a clinical trial at the Cleveland Clinic Center for Brain Health in Las Vegas for the drug lecanemab.
Well, lecanemab is a medication that removes a protein from the brain called amyloid. And we know that this protein is the instigator for Alzheimer's disease.
Lecanemab was approved by the FDA in January 2023 for use in patients with early signs of Alzheimer's and dementia. But Dr. Charles Bernick is heading up a study testing the drug in people who are not experiencing symptoms.
The idea would be if we can get amyloid out of the brain early, before people have symptoms, we can actually impact the disease and possibly prevent or certainly delay the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease.
Scientists at the University of Virginia say amyloid beta is a sticky plaque that essentially clogs the brain in patients with Alzheimer's. Lathrop says he doesn't know if he is on the actual drug or placebo, but he's still thankful to participate in the trial.
One thing about Alzheimer's and dementia in general is it's so frustrating because you can't do anything, right? And when you see your relatives, when you see other people, you just get really, I got to do something. And this is something I can do.
The clinical trial started in 2023 and will run 4 years. The participants are over the age of 55, have a family history of Alzheimer's disease, and have noticed some memory changes in themselves. Unfortunately, the Alzheimer's Foundation says that only 40% of Americans say they would talk to their doctor right away if experiencing memory problems, with many dismissing the changes as normal aging. Still to come, a common connection. A little boy struggling with health challenges finds a kindred spirit. How a shelter dog named Sushi changed his life.
But first,
I really didn't get a chance to address my emotions or my thoughts or my feelings.
you'll see how a comedian in Atlanta is using her voice to provide caretakers with inspiration and a chance to laugh.
How long can you be sad and not get sick of it?
That's a question almost everyone with a deep personal loss has asked themselves at one point or another. In Atlanta, a woman whose parents played a role in the civil rights movement is taking a page from their journey to inspire others.
Janae Smith started a podcast that blends humor with the realities of caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease. Reporter Sawyer Bussey gives us a listen.
They say that grief takes time.
A massive heart attack with no warning.
I guess that's true, if time is something the universe affords you.
I really didn't get a chance to address my emotions or my thoughts or my feelings.
For many, traumas happen back to back.
My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's less than a year after my father died.
And that means life can become dark.
How long can you be sad and not get sick of it?
Some look to humor as a remedy.
Yo, where we going?
Trauma brought Janae Smith to comedy. She lost her father suddenly and then became a full-time caregiver for her mother, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's all within a year.
My parents were both student civil rights activists. All I heard was, if you see something wrong, say something, do something.
She started a podcast called Parenting Up.
It was a cool morning. I was out for a walk. The sun was still sleeping.
She's blending her love of comedy into the realities of becoming a caregiver.
There was pain that led me to the laughter. Humor heals.
Another important tool for caregivers is respite care. Respite care gives primary caregivers a break, gives them time to handle an errand or grab a meal or cup of coffee. At James Madison University in Virginia, the school offers a program that's benefiting caregivers as well as students. The university's College of Health and Human Services has a network of students who provide 2 hours of free respite care in exchange for college credit. There are similar respite care programs across the country. You can learn more by going to the Arch National Respite Locator Service at archrespite.org.
Up next, a little boy with physical and emotional challenges no child should ever face.
He can wake up one morning and it looks like he has Parkinson's.
Then he got a helping paw from his new best friend.
We'll show you how an unbreakable bond formed between a boy and his dog.
Goodbye, Susie. What you said. Well, goodbye, Susie. She goes to sleep.
A little boy and his dog both finding comfort in each other after a rough start to life.
Jamison Wall isn't like many young boys. He was born drug dependent and later diagnosed with autism as well as a rare autoimmune disorder.
His adoptive parents struggled to help their son. That is until they were inspired by a shelter dog named Sushi. Reporter Amanda Harris shows us their special bond.
I can't block it.
When you're down on your luck,
Breathe.
it's hard to have faith
Breathe.
that things will start looking up.
1, 2.
Especially when life has been consistently unlucky.
I just don't know how to hold my body.
You don't know how to control your body? He's been dealt a really difficult hand of cards. Can you take some deep breaths?
I want to.
You don't want to?
Jamison's body is failing.
Without a doubt.
The 7-year-old was born drug dependent, has autism, and a rare autoimmune disorder that triggers unusual symptoms.
He can wake up one morning and it looks like he has Parkinson's. He would engage in self-harming behaviors and draw blood.
Laura and Corey Wall started to feel like nothing could help their son.
And we've been to countless therapy appointments. You name it, we've tried it. And it just seems like there's nothing that has been like, this is it. This is what's gonna help.
Nothing.
Well, until recently. Recently, we've had some luck.
Sushi.
Other kids are wanting to be around him more
Come and get it.
since Sushi came into his life.
Bring it back.
And he's capable of forming a relationship with people now. Through the dog, we know he has it in his heart, that capacity.
Is he the magic pit bull?
Yes. Yes, I would agree to that.
A pit bull mix named Sushi became Jamison's stroke of luck. But it turns out Sushi needed a little luck of his own.
He was a stray that was domed. The odds are not good for a pit bull in a shelter.
After about a year at Focus, this animal rescue in Tennessee,
Well, I adopted Sushi because he didn't have a home.
Sushi's odds improved when the Wall family heard of his potential to become a service dog.
He's a very calm dog, but most importantly, he wants to please. That's what he lives for.
Sushi has the temperament and a past that Jameson can relate to.
They share the same story. After 717 days and 15 court dates, we finalized the adoption in August of 2018.
Sushi went months without a permanent home. Jameson went even longer.
They both know what it's like to be homeless.
This is Ellie the elephant.
When bad luck turns to good fortune,
The story just worked out so well.
it's the perfect ending.
Because Ellie is so scared, her ears will not grow.
This one happens to come with a lesson for all of us.
What do you think this story is about? Is it about not giving up when your luck seems to have run out?
That and giving the unlikely a chance.
Goodbye, Sushi. And Cheetah.
Because who knows? It might just lead to a stroke of luck. In Tennessee, I'm Amanda Hara.
Goodbye, Sushi. What you said. Goodbye, Sushi. Go.
What a great connection, not just for Jameson and Sushi, but the whole family. He's helping the whole family.
I think Amanda had the perfect line in the story, when bad luck turns to good fortune. It's so true in that story.
Now they're all happy together.
Yeah, they are. They all deserve it too. All right, that's it for us here on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
Get off of them!
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, a push to protect student athletes.
Clearly, it's still a lot of work to be done.
A father shares how the pain of losing his son has fueled his mission.
For us, the motivation is Jordan. It's like, I think he's ever present now.